Hello everyone, welcome to WGBS TV Live, brought to you by SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. My name is Steve Eunice. In this, our April 26, 2021 show, we're going to be covering a range of topics, including Supergirl episodes, upcoming Superman and Lois episodes. We're going to be talking about comic books, what they're doing with the solicitations, new logos for the titles, and so much more. Also at the end of the month, so we're going to be taking our regular monthly segments and our fan favorite segment. So much to get through in this episode tonight. And to let you know how you can get involved in tonight's episode, let me introduce you to my co-host, Mr. Michael Bailey. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Steve. How's it going?
Doing well, and yourself?
Oh, it's fantastic. I am awake, and I think that's all I can really say right now. But we're not here to talk about me being awake. We're not here to talk about any kind of small talk because we got a lot to go through tonight. Man, a lot of stuff hit the last week. So what we want to do is to hear from the people that are watching us live right now on YouTube. Because WGBS Live is live on YouTube. We want to hear from the Superman fans. How do we do that? Well, about halfway through the show, if we don't have too much going on, we're going to take some calls. And the way we do that is through Skype. Go to Skype, find Superman homepage, send us a message that you'd like to be on the show, and wait for us to respond. Now, here's the thing. Two things, actually. One, message us. Don't just call in because we're not set up for that, and it can screw things up. Two, if you're using an external speaker to watch WGBS Live, please put that on mute, because we are on a bit of delay and that can screw things up.
Yes, and as JP Roca in the comments says, hit the like button. It all helps. But we want to also hear from you, so not just hitting the like button, but comment. And the way you do that is if you're watching live via YouTube, post your comments right there, and Michael and I react to your comments, answer any questions you might have as the show goes on. If you would like your question or comment featured on the screen live as the show goes on, then you can post a super chat. All you have to do is click the dollar symbol, a slider will appear on your screen, you decide on the dollar amount you're willing to donate, and we will feature your comment or question on the screen as the show goes to air. And a thank you to our sponsors and patrons, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray. And if you would like to support the Superman homepage, head to patreon.com/Superman homepage, or click the join button on YouTube right there, and there are different levels of perks. You can join and become a member. Well, Michael, it's been a busy week, as you said. Not so much in any other department except the comic books side of things, where a lot has happened, and we'll get to those probably in the second half hour of our show. But we will start with no movie news. I do have a little bit of a movie thing later on, hopefully. But we will start with the television side of things, where you reviewed the latest episode of Supergirl, which was episode 4 of season 6, and it was titled Lost Souls. And you gave this one a 3 out of 5. You like Nixley, but not necessarily sold on the entire episode as a whole.
Yeah, if this season had a name, it would be Smog, because it is dragon. That's Hobbit humor for anybody who actually finds it funny.
Wow.
No, it's just, man, this is like the 4th episode, and she's still stuck in the Phantom Zone, and there's like nothing going on. Like, strictly speaking, there was very little difference between this episode and the last episode. Nixley kind of not so much turning heel, but proving that she's a little more pragmatic about getting out of the zone was a little disappointing. I didn't see it coming because they set her up to be kind of a friendly character, and I kind of liked that. So I was emotionally involved with that, but it's like all this stuff with the Phantoms, and they have this thing that they're doing in the middle of the city, and we have to stop them before it gets too late, or they'll destroy Earth, and we still got to get Kara out of the Phantom Zone, and isn't it lucky that Megan can maybe see into the zone, but she can also see other I don't care.
And
I think that's what it comes down to.
The Phantoms almost come across as being like a vampire in that they've got a prime Phantom who is the, like the head of the family, if you like, the leader, the one that all the others come from. If you kill that one, then the rest of them kind of, wilt away. Other than being a little bit larger, that he keeps, nor he absorbs the bigger he gets. It was pretty lame for the fans. Like you said, it just kind of, it's dragging on a little bit. Hobbit humor notwithstanding.
Yeah, no, it's just like, for one of like a central villain, they've got this kind of throwaway thing. And if they had spent more time kind of developing the Phantom Zone, maybe it would have a little bit more of an emotional resonance, because then you would care. But she just gets stuck in the Phantom Zone. We haven't really seen a whole lot of the Phantom Zone on this show. We've seen Phantom Zone, escapees in the first season, but there was no mention in that first season of evil phantoms hiding in the zone, because they were all stuck on Fort Ross and maybe they didn't see them. But it's just like, you're right. It's like they wanted to do they had a vampire alien, and now the phantoms kind of take you over. And like you said, there's a main phantom, and it's really kind of confusing while also being extremely boring.
And this Phantom Zone almost feels like the Smallville one, in that, if I'm remembering correctly, it's very barren, that there are, different areas, and it just seems, very drab. Nixley, the turning of her character, well, she didn't really turn. A lot of people in the comments commenting about, a quick change for her. I guess she was always a little bit dodgy, but I wasn't exactly surprised that, being a fifth dimensional imp, that there was, I'm doing something for me.
Yeah, I should have twigged onto it sooner, is what I'm trying to say there. It should have been like at the end of last week's episode. I would have been like, this is going a little too well. Yeah. She is an imp from the fifth dimension. They're not notoriously trustworthy.
Yeah, exactly.
But maybe, but she is an imp from the fifth dimension with a tragic backstory. So, maybe that was the difference.
Michael F. Balak in the comments says, was the new Phantom Zone created by the end of Crisis? Well, what they said was that, like other things, it was fractured by the Crisis. So it is in different, by different dimensions, but it's not a one Phantom Zone. It's almost like it's broken up. And so you can't necessarily get from one part. I think the reason that they did that was to make it less easy for Supergirl's friends to be able to locate and rescue her. It's because it's so fragmented that there's no longer a map, if you like, of what the Phantom Zone is supposed to look like.
Yeah, and I like that everything was coming down to a mirror. Like we've got to find this huge chunk of glass, and luckily there was a spare in the back. And Zor-El got hurt, and we have to leave him behind, and isn't that convenient?
Yeah, it all seemed a little bit too scripted, if you like, but we'll wait. Hopefully our next episode is a time travel episode. Time travel is something that I'm very much interested in and love. Prom night. Has Supergirl done a time travel episode before? Yes, we've had flashbacks to early Smallville days, but have we had a time travel episode?
No, not really. The closest, maybe the Mixie episode for episode 100, where she was experiencing past events with a really bad wig.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's the closest.
That's the closest we've been. All right, so in this one, we have Brainy and Nia traveling back in time to Midvale, where it's prom night for the girls, the Danver girls, and we meet a young Cat Grant. Here is the promo trailer for this episode titled Prom Night.
If we want to bring Kara home, we have to go back in time. But you're going to my past. Don't mess it up.
What's that?
All we have to worry about is not being seen.
My name is Kara Zor-El.
What's up? What's up?
Oh, God. Thought we left that behind.
Yeah. And I'm surprised that Kara actually introduces herself as Kara Zor-El to a couple of strangers. Wouldn't
Perfect
she be
strangers.
Kara Danvers?
Yeah, she should be. Though maybe they were using like Zor-El as in like one word without a hyphen in it. You know, she's European, so
She looks it. All right, so that is Prom Night, the upcoming 5th episode of season 6 of Supergirl, and Michael will have a review in for that one in the days following. But we have a description for the 7th episode of season 6, the final season of Supergirl. It is titled "Fear Not," with "not" spelt K-N-O-T, as in a knot. It is described as thus. I'm reading it for you right now. We have, as the Super Friends brave the Phantom Zone to bring Supergirl home, each member of the team is confronted by visions of their worst fear. Oh dear.
didn't we just do this? No, seriously, I'm asking. Wasn't like a season or two back where Alex had to go through like a bunch of stuff in the VR world?
Yep. That's right, with the contact lenses things. Yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
John Patrick Van Pelt has a question. I've been noticing that I haven't been getting any notification from Superman homepage recently. Can this problem be fixed? Oh, that's an interesting one. I'm not sure why you've not been receiving notifications. If anyone would like to receive their notifications about when news items are posted on our website, there is a red bell at the bottom right-hand side of the screen at the website. You can click on that and you will receive pop-up notifications on your computer or device about as soon as we post new news items. So maybe just double check that bell is clicked and that you are subscribed to notifications, if that is what you're talking about, John. But thank you for bringing that up, because that's something that a feature that a few people might not know about. So that is the next episode of Supergirl that we wanted to mention, the description for episode 7. I've just lost all my updates. That's all right. I'll open it back up and we'll continue on. And Supergirl, what was we up to there? So we just had that description for the Fear Not episode. The CW also posted a number of interview videos. First up was this one with Melissa Benoist talking about Kara and her predicament currently on the 6th season of Supergirl. Have a look.
Like shards of ice coursing through my veins. No one said pocket jumping through the Phantom Zone was for the faint of heart.
We've kind of explored Supergirl's vulnerability before in bits and pieces on the show, but not really ever this in-depth.
This home is beautiful.
It's a version of the character that fans will not have seen.
We found each other after decades apart. You give up now?
I think this season what we're really trying to explore is the idea of power and absolute power. Especially with superheroes who have power that's seemingly limitless. How you reconcile that with humanity and where you draw the line and what does it mean for the platform that you carry and how you use it.
So interesting there to hear Melissa Benoist talking about where things are at with her character and what the theme of this 6th and final episode is with your powers and how to use them. And it's a topic that they obviously do touch on from time to time throughout the series, but to be the one that you finish off on is an interesting one for this season.
Yeah. In a way, it kind of comes back to the first season of, her finally accepting that she needs to use her powers for, to help the greater good. So there's kind of a mirror to that. So I can kind of see that.
And then the CW published this similar interview with Katie McGrath, who plays Lena Luthor, talking about the development of her character in season 6.
Well, I call it a prototrap. It's designed to trap Prime Phantom and his progeny hands-free and transport them directly to containment.
Just like in Ghostbusters.
Except that's a movie.
It's the perfect movie.
The prototrap is real.
Okay.
Lena is a very real hero because things are hard and she keeps going, and I think that's a very important character point.
It was my war with Supergirl that started all of this, so if this is my only chance to make it right, then I have to do it.
She doesn't give up, no matter how hard things are, no matter how terrible everything is around her.
I trust you.
I always say I wish I was more like Lena.
You belong here, Lena. You always have. And you always will.
You belong here, Lena. You always have and you always will. I don't know if she always did belong there.
No, there were a couple points where it was probably not the case, as in last season. But you know, it's nice though that we don't have that drama from last season of her being mad at Kara. Even though that turn was a little quick, I'm kind of glad we're out of it. So
yeah. I mean, I don't mind her as part of the Super Friends, but yeah, I mean, it just kind of absorbed her into the family pretty quickly and trusting her pretty straight away. I mean, even Kara trusting Nixley like that is, yes, there is, you know, seeing the good side of things, and that's a very Superman family character thing to do. Superman's currently doing that to Black Adam in the Justice League comic books, but there's being hopeful and there's being naive.
Yeah, and more often than not, Supergirl's a little naive. I mean, it's actually nice that it's a consistent character trait, and I kind of like that she's like that. But at some point, you got to get a little smarter about the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. The question there at the bottom of your screen was, do you think we'll see Jeremy Jordan return at all for a cameo in the final season of the show?
I have a feeling that the last episode is where they're going to have all that kind of stuff. Like, we'll see maybe Jeremy Jordan and Makad Brooks come back, you know, to do a final bow, since they were part of the show for so long. But with COVID, everything is just kind of weird. So I'm sure there was probably more that they would have want to do in a final season that they can't, just because of, you know, practical reasons.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you don't want to come in for a 5-minute cameo and spend 2 weeks in isolation to do that. That just wouldn't be worth your while. But yeah, we never know. See how things go with the filming and with production restrictions. But that would be nice to see cameo appearances by, you know, even Calista Flockhart, Makad Brooks, as you said, Jeremy Jordan, and others. Even if there's, you know, Tyler Hoechlin and Bitsy Chulok turned up for a farewell, that would be nice. But anything is possible, but probably less likely with COVID restrictions in place. But we'll wait and see. So thanks for that question. All right, Katie McGrath also participated in a interview with EW.com discussing the evolution of her role as Lena Luthor and what she's most excited to see, for fans to see for the final season. And she said in a particular interview, part of the interview, had this to say. She said, people are going to lose their minds when they watch all of it. The moment when Kara comes back is going to be very important. And it was for us too, because we got Melissa back, so it was great. But every episode up until we finish will have something that's going to shock and surprise and impress.
Waiting for it.
Waiting for it, yeah. Don't keep us hanging. But yeah, and I guess that's the thing. We don't really realize at the moment that Melissa Benoist is probably outside of the rest of the crew as far as, you know, being... not being in the same place. They're filming in 2 different locations, and they haven't really combined the cast members for, you know, obvious reasons. So, and interesting that, you know, midway through, you know, not midway through the season, but, you know, partway through the season, some of the cast members haven't even seen each other yet.
It's a different world. It's just really kind of strange.
Yeah, big time. So, yeah, that was the interview at EW.com with Katie McGrath, and you can read more excerpts from that at our website. But TV Guide magazine is featuring Supergirl and Alex on 2 different covers. I wasn't aware that, I mean, I knew TV Guide magazine was a thing, but I wasn't aware that it was still being published. I didn't know that.
Yep.
So that's great, especially in this day and age where magazines are few and far between. Here are the 2 covers for the current issue of TV Guide magazine that for the April 26th to May 9th, I think it is, or May 6th. Can't really read that small print there, but it's a double issue, and the one of 2 covers, Super Sisters, Kara's in trouble and it's Alex to the rescue on that particular cover, and then the other one is the second cover of Supergirl with Melissa Benoist. So, yeah, nice to see that for her final season, Kara and Supergirl and Alex are back on the covers.
Oh, hi, Mark. That was a weird reference. I apologize. I was making a reference to that really bad movie that I even forget the name of it. You know, if you have to explain the joke, it's not funny.
No.
So that's a pretty good rule of comedy. So, but no, you know, I'm hoping. I mean, I have a feeling I'm going to enjoy the next 2 episodes simply because flashback episodes and stuff like this usually are a little more interesting, and we're kind of out of the whole Phantom Zone thing. I mean, the plot's still going to be going on, but the main focus is going to be like young Cat Grant and all that. So, you know, I just wanted it to be better. And we're 4 episodes in, and I'm not seeing it yet.
Yeah, exactly. Let's hope things improve. And while we wait for Superman and Lois to return to our screen, which is May 18th, which is getting ever closer, with 4 weeks to go, Eric Valdez, who plays Kyle Cushing on the show, gave us this update on where things are at. Here it is from Eric.
What's up, guys? Eric Valdez here, and I play Kyle Cushing from CW Superman and Lois. And why am I popping up in your feed today? Well, because I'm excited. I know it's been a while. We've been away for a minute, but we're getting closer. 4 more weeks to be precise, and we will be back in your living rooms, on your TV screen.
I don't know what froze there, but yes, they'll be back in 4 weeks, or probably a little bit less now, because that was a couple of days ago that was posted. The first 5 episodes are available to stream for free on the CW app. I believe this will be the last week that they will be available. Don't know why that's the case, why they can't just keep them there, but I keep seeing these promotions that you need to be quick and watch the first 5 episodes, probably because they just, after a while, become no longer available because of dates and things like that. But
yeah, it's usually how it works. There's a finite amount of time, but they just started airing them on HBO Max, so
cool, excellent. So yes, that's another place where you can get your fix for Superman and Lois if you, for some reason, haven't watched the first number of episodes. The first 5 episodes are available to stream on the CW app. All right, they also, the CW that is, released this new poster image of Clark Kent on social media. It's a nice one of Tyler Hoechlin smiling, a great background sunset there, and great graphics, stream free now. His poster image of Tyler Hoechlin as Clark Kent for Superman and Lois just released today. He's not your average guy from Smallville.
He's just so casual.
Very much so. So that's a really nice character image poster of Tyler Hoechlin. Still hasn't shaven properly, but we've kind of passed that now. We won't even mention it anymore. But a nice little Superman
great.
flying.
I really like it. I like the shot of Superman flying. It's the image itself is broken up nicely. So they're pushing it. They're not letting you forget that show's existing, so that's good.
Yeah, indeed. So that is a new poster image which is posted on our website today. All right, we're a couple of minutes shy of the halfway mark of tonight's show. We have our segments to do. Our fan favorite segment, big question segment, super secret soundbite segment, and then we've got comic book solicitations to talk about for July, which is some big news there. We'll be back right after these messages with all of that. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back real soon.
We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
If you're enjoying WGBS TV Live, then please like and share this video with your family and friends. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, you can click on the bell to receive notifications whenever we post a new video. You can also join our YouTube membership program. Just click the join button below. Or you can become a patron and support our website by visiting patreon.com/Superman homepage.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane. No, it's SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. SupermanHomepage.com, covering the world of Superman from the 1930s to today. News, reviews, rumors, and reports. SupermanHomepage.com for all your Superman comics, TV shows, movies, cartoons, radio shows, and more. Everything you ever wanted to know about the Man of Steel and more. SupermanHomepage.com.
Thanks, Superman Homepage, for all the support over the years. I really appreciate it.
I'm Matt Balmer. I'm the voice of Superman and Superman Unbound, and this is the Superman Homepage.
Right here on Superman Homepage.
Coming from the farthest reaches of the universe to challenge the worst villains on Earth are the most powerful heroes ever in the battle of the Superpowers Collection. Can it be the Supermobile on the attack, the Lexor 7 armed with kryptonite? Will the Supermobile repel those deadly rays?
You bet. Ready for battle. Activate RAM.
New from Kenner's Superpowers Collection. Vehicles and figures with power action, each sold separately. Flying lessons for Penguin, fish bait for Luther. Can the Supermobile defeat the Lexor 7? You decide.
And we're back on WGBS TV Live. Just watching that Kenner ad, those plastic cups, I'm sure those boys grew up to play beer pong with those.
What I was thinking is how kind of confident Joker, Penguin, Lex, and Brainiac are. It's just the four of them, but it's the entire Justice League. It's like, we got it. It's just like, okay, good luck. Now, in the comic that was tied into the toy line, they were given like superpowers by Darkseid in the first miniseries. So, but still, yeah, it's funny. These kids grew up to play beer pong. Very good.
You've got to make use of those plastic cups as you grow older. All right, well, let's get into the fan favorite segment of our show. All right, what was our fan favorite question from last week, Michael?
What is your favorite Superman Silver Age comic book cover? And Rick Lee James, fantastic singer, wrote in, I can't say this is my favorite Superman cover of the Silver Age, but it's definitely one of the most memorable ones, and I do like it an awful lot.
Yeah, Superman binge eating those burgers. Very interesting. Thank you, Rick. Next up, we have Chase McAndrew, who says, I have two that I've always loved. Superman 199, when he's racing the Flash to raise money for the UN. The second is Superman number 233, when he breaks the Kryptonite chains, the Kryptonite Nevermore cover to the Superman Sandman saga. Both are iconic Silver Age covers to me, and like everything comics and Superman, I've loved it since first seeing it as a kid. They are two very iconic covers. Thank you, Chase.
Yeah, that cover to 233 was not so subtly meant to look like a new #1.
Exactly.
It's okay. Cyrus Crochet wrote, while I love some of the crazier covers, it's the more dramatic one to Action Comics number 268 that has always stayed in my mind. I think I saw it in the Paul Levitz's oversized DC 75 Years book, and seeing it even larger than the original printing emphasized the effect of it. I like I think the contrast and how there is a tragic side to something that should be great news is another less remembered example of that unique Silver Age magic that is impossible to replicate.
Yeah, very nice. Superman battles with Hercules. Put Superman to sleep for 100 years with a magic tune from Apollo's flute. Of course you did. And next up we have Tony Morisi. I think it's pronounced. He's given me a pronunciation there. He says, my favourite Silver Age cover is the Superman Annual #1. This was the first Superman comic I ever bought when it came out in the supermarket. Yes, I'm that old. I read it so much that the cover fell off. I got this copy much later at a price much higher than 25 cents. I have copies of all the DC annuals from that era, but this is my favourite. I greatly enjoy the Superman banter you offer each week on the podcast. Oh, thank you very much, Tony. Appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks for writing in. That is a good one.
Yes.
I'll admit. I have to agree with him. Jack Rocha, or Rocha, give us a pronunciation guide, Jack, please. This week's question is really hard, but that being said, I'm going with Action Comics number 243 with the main story, The Lady and the Lion. This is a fun cover with great art, but the caption, yes, Lois, I'm Superman, but a strange fate has changed my form. Now you and I must act out a modern version of Beauty and the Beast.
Of course you must.
I don't know why that's so funny. It's just like, no, not the weirdest thing about this cover is that Superman has a lion's head. No, he wants to act out Beauty and the Beast.
Crazy.
Oh, that's great.
We also have Kenny Crowley Jr. who wrote in saying, hello, gentlemen. These are my favourite Superman Bronze Age covers, one with Superman and one with Supergirl. First for Superman, which I think is this one here. Again, Superman 233, the infamous Kryptonite Nevermore story arc. A great Neil Adams cover and one of the best non-Batman covers ever. While the story not as great as the cover, A+. For Supergirl, it is Action Comics 373. While technically this came before the Bronze Age, the Battle of the Super Pets, but mostly a Supergirl anniversary issue. Lots of cool stories in this one issue. And the cover by Neil Adams and Kurt Swan captures Supergirl, Kara Zor-El from this era so well. Thanks, Steve and Michael, and keep up the super amazing work. Well, thank you, Kenny. Thank you for those two submissions. They are fantastic.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, Michael, what about you? What's your favourite?
It's a Superman cover. I just love this one. It was one of those that I would see again and again in Superman from the 30s to the 70s. They had, before the next section, they had like a full color selection of covers. And this one always grabbed me because, one, you never saw Superman with his sleeves rolled up and with a beard. And second, he's just like, you're going to have to, kill me or let me go. He's like, okay, I'm going to kill you. It's just like, well, how could you leave that on the rack? You have to know what happens next.
Yes, exactly. That's a nice one. It's not one that I recall seeing that often. So that's a nice choice. And we've got a pronunciation for Rocha in the comments there.
Oh, Rocha. Okay, thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Mark Lax asks, the Age for Superman end and the Bronze Age begin?
I always say that the Bronze Age of Superman, because all these things are different. It's like you can't, like Batman in the Silver Age technically doesn't, a lot of people say it's when the yellow oval got on the bat symbol, but that doesn't work because he was in the Justice League. So for Superman, I say that he started to enter with Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen, number 133, the first Jack Kirby issue. And definitely for the Superman title, it's 233. Because that was when Julius Schwartz took over as editor from Mort Weisinger. He didn't take over Action at that point because that was still under somebody else. But that to me is when Superman's Bronze Age begins, because you have the introduction of Morgan Edge. He becomes a TV anchorman. They start changing his outfit, so it's all different at that point.
Very good. All right, for me, mine was this one, Action Comics 242, the Brainiac cover, very famous one. Always stood out for me as being very iconic and one of those ones that you instantly your eye is drawn to when you're looking at covers for this era of Superman. So yeah, that's my choice.
Yeah, it's a sharp one. And it's Brainiac wearing pants, so that's kind of cool. Or is he? Is he? No, he's wearing shorts.
No, he's wearing
Sorry,
shorts. His green skin's there.
Because all he wants is pants. A decent pair of pants.
Well, he went to, he's Superman. I'm going to get your blue tights. That's what he's saying to him there on that cover. All right, so thank you to everyone who responded to the fan favorite segment from last week. That was a great one. Really like to see all those respondents. So our new fan favorite question for this month is what, Michael?
What is your favorite Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, praise be his name, Superman image? Which, that's going to be a tough one because you got a lot to choose from.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one, but there are so many great ones, so many great images. He is probably my favorite artist, Superman artist of all time. Just iconic. So many great images to choose from because they used him for so many things, for things that are now on T-shirts and posters and magnets and everything. It's just the character designs were from Jose for so long. So get involved in the fan favorite segment of our show. We should see lots of great responses, and I will revel in seeing so many of Jose Luis Garcia Lopez's images next week. Praise be his name. All right, let's jump into the monthly segments now with the big question. Here's the intro.
Let's start with the big question.
All right, Michael, what was the big question from last month?
What is the one thing you liked most about Zack Snyder's Justice League and the one thing you liked least about the film? Ron Crosby wrote in as usual, said, I liked pretty much everything about it, but if I had to pick one thing, it would be Superman. The black suit looked awesome, and Cavill did great as always in the role. If I had to pick something I disliked, it would have been that we won't get to see the continuation.
Fair enough. That's a nice response there. Thank you, Ron. Stephen Marshall wrote in saying, I absolutely loved Zack Snyder's Justice League. My favourite scene was Superman's Flight 2.0, when the voices of Jor-El and Jonathan echoed around the scout ship and he flew up to the sun for a recharge. To be honest, there isn't really much I disliked. My only nitpicks were some of the song placements earlier in the film, especially the one for the Flash sequence. Okay. Nice.
I actually kind of agree with that. I didn't like the fact that it turned into music videos every once in a while.
Yeah.
Justin Suarez wrote, the one thing I liked the most is that finally in cinema movie history, Darkseid is shown. Darkseid presence in the movie gave Steppenwolf his reason for trying to search for the anti-life. Watching a younger Darkseid battle old Earth gods was awesome and something new to be seen in the DCU. On the net, people are always trying to compare Darkseid and Thanos, but Darkseid has too many extraordinary powers, and Thanos I did it both ways there, just has a glove and pretty little rocks on it. Least liked part was the sweater sniffers.
Thank you, yes, Aquaman's sweater sniffers. Interesting groupies there. Alfie Falsatelli wrote in, he said, the best thing about Snyder Cut was the music. They finally used Hans Zimmer's Man of Steel theme in a heroic way. The worst thing about Snyder Cut was the music. There were some mind-boggling musical choices, primarily the two Aquaman scenes. That's funny that the music can be the best thing and the worst thing about the film. Nice, Alfie. I like the way you set that in. That was nice.
He's not wrong either. The bit of the Superman, the Hans Zimmer theme when he comes back is just like, you've never really in the movies heard it used like a Superman theme needs to be used.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird that we had to wait that long, but it was still kind of cool. Pragmatic Gollum. That's such a great name. Pragmatic Gollum wrote, sorry. I'm Yeah, I got the giggles all this edit. I'm a little punch drunk. I really like the whole Flash reversing time at the end. It really made Flash an important part of the third act. What I didn't like were some of the things like that I liked from the theatrical cut that were not included. One of them bit is where Aquaman was being honest with the team thanks to Diana's lasso. That would have been really out of place in this movie. Yeah, I mean, that was a funny scene. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to dismiss his thoughts, but that would have felt really weird.
Yeah, an interesting one. Thank you, Pragmatic Golem. Malft wrote in saying, it brought us the whole stories of the Flash and Cyborg and filled in the huge gaps in Superman's story. Disliked being reminded of the travesty that WB released to theaters. Yeah, there was that lingering kind of resentment about, what we did get versus what we then got. But yeah, thank you, Malft.
Ryan Ignatius Pratt wrote, the thing I liked most about Zack Snyder's Justice League was the scene between John, Martha, and Lois that dealt with the consequences of Clark's death. Felt Diane Lane's powerful performance here was 10 times better than it was in the similar scene in the theatrical edition. Ryan is not wrong about that. However, I do wish that Snyder would have chosen not to introduce John here, as I felt that it undercut the poignancy of the scene a bit by not having Martha be the actual Martha.
Yeah, I agree.
Which I also completely agree with. The thing I liked the least would be the film's aspect ratio.
He's not wrong in any of those.
Yeah.
Ryan is really on the point there. Yeah, it did undercut Martha's role by having it be Martian Manhunter, because it was a very powerful scene, and then you find out it's not even her, which was cool to see Martian Manhunter, but it just felt wrong to be mimicking as Martha for what was an important scene. And the aspect ratio, while I was watching it, I thought there was something wrong with my version, that I was like somehow watching the wrong aspect ratio, until then I looked it up and realized that this is supposed to be the IMAX aspect ratio, and that my TV just isn't shaped the right way.
You could have had that scene with Martha, but had a similar thing, and have Martian Manhunter end up being the cop, Mark McClure's character. And that, it's armchair editing, but no, you could have had like a similar thing where he's like, Lois, we still need you. Like, and in fact, it kind of makes more sense because that cop's like, you come here every day.
Yeah.
Like that just feels, and you have that feeling that he was there. If things got really bad with Superman, he could have stepped in.
Yeah. Nice point. It's a pity they didn't go that way. Arakoyo Joel wrote, I probably pronounced that wrong, but I liked when the Justice League were fighting Superman. I didn't like when Wonder Woman was massaging Batman. I don't think that was in Zack Snyder's. That was the theatrical cut where she popped his shoulder back into place. Yeah, that's definitely not Zack Snyder's cut, but thank you for the response either way. And thank you to everyone. That's another great response to one of our segments that we sometimes struggle with. So thank you everybody for responding to the big question. Let's hope we get as many people responding to our new big question, which is what, Michael?
With the release of July Solicitations, what do you think of DC's plans for the Superman comic book titles?
Yes, we will get to talking about just exactly what they are in the next segment, but thank you to everyone for responding to the big question, and hopefully you'll respond to this question. And if you do want to respond to your thoughts on the solicitations for July, which are up on our website, head to the Superman homepage website. Under the contact menu, you will find the big question feedback form. Get involved and we will read out the responses when we return to this segment at the end of May. All right, let's move into the super secret soundbite.
Only one thing alive with less than 4 legs can hear this frequency, Superman, and that's you.
All right, the super secret soundbite from from last month was this sound. Let's hear it again.
Super or otherwise, you're merely a man, and I am a god.
Well, there you had it. It was Darkseid talking from the Justice League Unlimited animated series, Season 3, Episode 13, titled Destroyer. And we only had one person guess it right, and that was Stephen Marshall. Well done, Stephen, for guessing where in the world of Superman that sound came from. So let's see if more people can guess where this new sound comes from for the secret soundbite.
Mother would be visiting me in the hospital again if you hadn't pushed me out of the way.
Dad, it wasn't me. I saw someone who can move like I can. I couldn't believe it. He saved you.
So there you have it. Do you know where in the world of Superman that sound comes from? Shouldn't be too difficult, but if you do know, head to the Superman homepage website. Under the contact menu, you will find the super secret soundbite entry form. Fill it out, send your entry in, and we will read the names of each person who guesses it right when we return to this segment at the end of May. Not too difficult. I know you can't hear it there, Michael, on your end of things, but I'm guessing people will get it right. Just quickly on Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League, Mark Lax asks, was the Martha/Jean scene a reshoot or in his original cut?
I think that was in his original cut because
so
they had
too.
those storyboards for it.
Yeah. And I believe the only reshoots were the Joker nightmare scene. I don't think...
Yeah.
Which was at the end of the film. I don't think any of the anything else was shot. So it was definitely planned earlier. And there you have it. It was in the storyboards, as you said. All right, they're the monthly and weekly segments. Let's push on to the comic book side of things, where we will quickly touch on the Superman Red and Superman Blue comic book that came out last week. This is a collection of, as is every issue, of short stories, if you like, that are collected into this ongoing series. It's only a 6-issue series, but it's very... I'm really enjoying the way it's being told, and the artwork in many respects is really good, even if it is just the two-color red and blue with blacks and things like they're involved as well. But it's definitely one, if you're not into the main books at the moment for whatever reason, Superman Red and Blue is definitely worth your time.
Yeah, I haven't read this issue yet, but I really liked the first one. So I'm looking forward to getting to it at some point in the near future.
There are 5 stories in this particular issue, which I think was the same as the first one, and they're all really well written and very much touch on the who the character of Superman is, and I feel like they are doing the character great justice. So Superman Red and Blue, if you haven't picked it up, the first 2 issues are out now. But as for what is available this week, let's quickly go through those before we get into the solicitations. And here is what you can look forward to for Superman fans reading comic books. This week we have Action Comics 1030. This is also available in a really cool variant cover, which makes up a part of the background of our website at the moment. Also out this week is Batman Superman number 17, which is also available in this variant cover. Really cool looking cover there. Also out this week, the print edition of Ruby Justice League number 1, if you're into that anime crossover with the Justice League, and that is also available in a variant cover right there. Then on the collected edition side of things, we have Batman Superman Volume 2 World's Deadliest hardcover, and we have Deceased Dead Planet hardcover, and then we have a deluxe edition of JLA The Tower of Babel hardcover out this week as well. Then on the digital first publishing program side of things, we have Chapter 14 of Challenge of the Super Sons available to download as of today. So that's what's available for Superman fans reading comic books this week.
Woohoo!
So Action Comics 1030 is obviously the... although Batman Superman number 17, the Golden Age stuff, is, I know, something that you were hoping would be a good read. Although the artwork and the way it's laid out, the film strip stuff still going on in this issue, as I see some interior artwork, which is an interesting choice.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so big changes coming for Superman this July. The Superman family of comic books are facing some major changes in the coming months. New logo designs, new titles. There is no Superman title moving forward. It is now Superman, Son of Kal-El, with John Kent taking over the role of his dad, which we were curious if that would happen. Superman in Action Comics is still going on, and that will continue. But Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow is also coming in May and June, with the second issue out in July. And then obviously there's that Superman and the Authority miniseries, 4-issue limited series as well. What do you make of these changes, Michael?
Okay, so on the Superman and the Authority thing, I think it's hilarious that Manchester Black is now part of the Authority, when Manchester Black was created as part of the Elite, which was like kind of a satire of the Authority.
Yeah.
Only in comics does this happen. I'm disappointed because I've wanted Tom Taylor to do a Superman book for a very long time. He's got a really great handle on the character, but it's like DC is into this whole monkey's paw thing. Like, you get your wish, but it's not really what you want. I just don't. I've realized over the past couple of months that the Superman that I like to read about is Clark Kent. He's at the Daily Planet. He's got Lois as his wife. He's got a support staff with Perry and Jimmy. And the farther away they get from that, the more I just don't have any interest in reading about it. This is nothing against Jonathan as a character, but this feels like a really weird thing to give the audience that the audience didn't ask for. This is like DC deciding, no, we're gonna do the next generation. We're gonna move all these things forward because that's how we need to do things, because we have just dug ourselves into such a deep hole with the books themselves. So we're gonna do these whole new things, and it's just, there is nothing for a mostly adult John as Superman to make me want to read about it. The best thing the series will have going for it is that once again we have a Superman just figuring things out, but none of the trappings of what I like about the character are there. So it's like I get that they're trying to grab a younger audience. I don't know if that audience is there to be grabbed.
Yeah, it's hard to remain positive because, as you said, Tom Taylor is one of those writers who has shown that he just gets Superman. He understands the character, and then you give him a Superman book and he's not writing Clark Kent Superman, he's writing the Son. And it's an ongoing series. Superman, Son of Kal-El replaces the current Superman monthly title. It is written by Tom Taylor with art by John Timms, and the series follows the new adventures of the son of Superman as he's entrusted with the protection of Earth. So that's that title. As I said, we still have Action Comics continuing with writer Philip Kennedy Johnson and artist Daniel St. Pierre. And Superman is continuing on with the War World thing, and that's still going on, even down to July. Then we've got Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. The second issue continues on. This new, I think it's a 8-issue limited series by Tom King, so there's only 8 issues of that. And then we've got Superman the Authority, which, as I mentioned, is only a 4-issue limited series by, obviously, Grant Morrison and Mikel Janin. So they're pushing that one hard, but it's only 4 issues. And Justice League Infinity is probably the one that a lot of people are most excited about because it continues the adventures of the animated series in comic book form. So, John Super Chat there says it seems like they're writing more kids instead of for adults and kids. So yeah, I agree. It does seem to be that they're trying to get a newer audience. I don't know, but I'm not sure what they're aiming at with the Superman, Son of Kal-El, because you would have to have been a long-time reader to just know who John is.
Yeah, it it's similar to when they started the New 52 in that we're going for a younger Superman. And there are people that came into the New 52 and that was their Superman. And as I always say, I'm not here to take anything away from you as a Superman fan if that's the Superman you want. And there are people that are going to get introduced to John in a similar way. They're going to fall in love with the character, and they're going to probably want very little to do with the previous version of that. My concern here is that DC Comics has had a lousy track record of starting an initiative and sticking with it. And I know we got a new regime in place, so it could be different this time. But this just feels like, here's the new boss, same as the old boss. And, I'm not going to get fooled again. And if this is going to get a big push, it's going to be the thing for a little while. This is my prediction. And it's on the internet forever now. But this is going to get a big push. They're going to keep with it. Sales are going to drop like a stone several months into it. And they're going to revamp later down the road. It's just how this cycle, we get on the ride goes round and round and round, and then it stops, and then it goes again. So it's just like I can't do it again.
No, fair enough. And as part of the change in July, we've also got new logo treatments for the comic books. The Action Comics one is new. It's not too different. It still has the sensibility of being, very much the retro feel with a modern sensibility. Superman, Son of Kal-El is very reminiscent of Superman homepage with the but
not to put too fine a point on it.
Yeah, no. But obviously, that is a similar kind of thing to what they've done in Superman the Animated Series. It has that block type thing that Superman's always had, the title, but it's doing it from a different perspective. Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, a lot of people said it looks like it's like a saloon, cowboys, selling barbecue sauce, all different things that I've seen. The whole cowboy thing, the saloon kind of thing, is intentional, according to artist Darren Robinson, who has designed all of these new logos. He commented on his Twitter account that when people said, it looks like, very much, kind of a cowboy Western kind of feel to it, he said that's intentional, and you'll understand why when you read the book itself. So obviously there is very much, not a necessarily cowboys and Indians kind of feel to it, but maybe that feel of, the Wild West, if you like, in space for the Supergirl comic book. And Superman and the Authority, not a bad look there either. But the Action Comics one, I've seen a lot of people on either side of the fence saying, I really like it, really hate it, but I actually don't mind any of these designs from a graphic point of view. I think they're all pretty cool.
No, I mean, especially with Superman and Supergirl, you want to have that kind of new feeling to it. And Action is the old quote unquote, the old Superman. So again, it makes sense that you want something that looks fresh and new, but still retains that quality that Action has always had, especially with the A.
So really cool there. Thank you to Darren for sharing his comments and thoughts on that on social media. Well, that pretty much brings us to the end of tonight's show. I want to thank everyone for watching WGBS TV Live. Thank you to everyone in the YouTube comments there for your participation and your questions and your comments. And thank you to our sponsors and patrons, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray. And thank you to you, my co-host, Mr. Michael Bailey. Thank you, Mike.
Pleasure as always, Steve.
And thank you to everyone who participated, as I said, live on YouTube. If you missed out on part of the show, tuned in late, want to watch it all in full, you can do so via the Superman homepage, website, or our YouTube channel, where the show will remain in full. But participate in the Superman homepage, the comments on every news item there. For all your daily news updates, head to supermanhomepage.com. Michael and I will be back next week on May 3rd for another edition of WGBS TV Live. Look forward to talking to you then. Until then, as I said, be sure to check out supermanhomepage.com for all your daily news updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. I'm Steve Yunus on behalf of myself and Michael Bailey. Thanks for watching WGBS TV Live, brought to you by SupermanHomepage.com.